Thank you very much, MC. So to the chairman of the board of the advisory committee of the Center for Public Sector Governance, Dr. Ernest Ndukwe, OFR. Our keynote speaker, Professor Laukpa, Chair of the Federal Civil Service Commission, Chief Executive Officer of the Ministry of Finance, Dr. Armstrong Takang, President of the Society for Corporate Governance, Nigeria, Malam M.K. Ahmad, OON, board members of SCGN and of the Center for Public Sector Governance, and may I warmly welcome the distinguished Leonard Silk, Mr. Fabian Ajogwu, SAN, other members here, fellows, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I join our chairman in offering you a warm welcome to this very remarkable day, very important in the journey of public sector governance in Nigeria. It was Aristotle who said that the essence of the state is to create a good life, not just life only. And with this comes the importance of governance. In its truest form, it's about ensuring that society creates a good platform for citizens to thrive, and that the state's role is never lost. The focus is not lost on the role of the state. The state is not to compete with the citizens. Adam Smith once said that whenever the sovereign competes with the subjects, poverty is created. The state's role is to foster development, equity, and justice, and to deploy resources to enabling a level playing ground where the best of its people will thrive, create jobs, create wealth, and expand the goodness that we talk about. So it is for this reason that the importance of the public sector is put forward today, particularly state-owned enterprises. These are institutions that can unlock the wealth of this country if and only if properly governed. Sometimes the true test is not absence of failure. The true test is value-based audit. Could you have achieved more with a naira spent than simply what you have done over time? So in recognizing this indispensable role of the public sector in nation building, today we happily, with a sense of pride as well as prayers, put forward for the inauguration the Center for Public Sector Governance, CPSG. On the authority of the advisory board, I'm told to inform you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that this center will be dedicated to promoting best practices and enhancing governance within public sector institutions. It is a response to the urgent need to strengthen government institutions and frameworks, enhancing service delivery and restoring trust in public sector and government institutions. It's about public finance management and accountability. You may ask, why the center then? The answer lies in the critical role that governance plays in shaping the socio-economic and political landscape of Nigeria. And of course, in our sub-Saharan Africa, especially through this very vital sector. Very powerful, with, in my opinion, potentials that could and should be unleashed within the shortest possible time. And you may ask, what is the difference between a well-governed institution and one that just thrives? I will tell you. You will be listening to speakers today, people who have walked the path of governance, understood the importance of doing things well. You look at the advisory board, we haven't just brought a couple of people to come and speak or mouth, as we say in Nigeria, the concept. But you'll agree with me, carefully selected. I personally, and I say this freely, have classed regulators into A, B, C. Ranking is important for competitiveness in everything we do in life. And why do I say some regulators are A? Take a look at one regulator called the NCC. From day one, it set about doing things very well. It went about a consultative model of regulation. It made sure that the landscape was free. The level playing ground was set. Nobody had advantage over the other. The very first public act it had to do, the bidding of the GSM license, was through a transparent, open, television recorded, live streamed auction. There was no room for anything that could be said to be questionable. That is an A-class regulator, and I invite a round of applause to that regulator, Dr. Ernest Ndukwe, OFR. So our chairman has a lot to share, and so he will be debriefed and debriefing onto public sector servants to say, I am not just speaking from a comfortable zone. I sat in that chair. I went through memos and circulars and revised circulars and everything. We delivered value. We created wealth for the country, and we created jobs, and we put Nigeria's GDP higher than we met it. Why is it also important? So take another look. Case study B, another A-class regulator, the PENCOM. PENCOM sits in double-digit trillions today because of the very foundation. At some point, PENCOM was just a piece of legislation, piece of paper. Someone sat down, drew an organogram, decided on standard operating procedures, decided on running an ethical commission where there was consultation with the regulatees, where everything was done well, transparently, open, and governed properly. And today, you see a very successful, impacting, wealth-creating commission. Again, I invite a round of applause to one of us, Malam M.K. Ahmed, OON. It is very rare to be in public service, create value, come out, and you're warmly received by the private sector, and those people with a 4-letter initials that end with CC are not looking for you. Again, you would see that the distinguished learned silk, Mr. Fabian Ajogwu, SAN, has walked a straight journey in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and as Minister of State for Petroleum Resources. This is why I invite yet another round of applause for him. I have given these illustrations not in praise singing, but in typifying the importance of a properly governed public institution and the legacy that it shows. I left my mobile handset on the table. I was going to brandish it in the air. It leaves legacy that we can attest to. So, as I said earlier on, today our public institutions face a myriad of challenges, from navigating complex policy environments and reforms to balancing diverse interests, and of course to integrating even technology, risk management, and all the principles we know about governance in what happens in public institutions. During my PhD class, a good majority of the non-Nigerians I found there, Asians, all worked in public sector. And it was interesting that in that environment, they hire only the best in their public sector, and they would train them to the highest level. And he explained to me the reason. He said, if I ran a coffee shop and mismanaged it, 12 to 18 people will go through my misery that I've created. If I regulated an industry and I mismanaged it, statistics can't be gathered. Incredible scale of damage. So this sector is extremely vital to the upliftment of Nigeria. So what this center looks at is A, strengthening governance structures, which it aims to do, building capacity for better service delivery, public accountability and transparency, particularly public finance management. Accountability for how you spend the collective commonwealth. So a collaborative approach is what the center aims at taking. As a chairman rightly noted, we will be embarking on this journey recognizing that governance is a shared responsibility. So the CPSG will be fostering partnerships across sectors and borders. We do believe that by collaborating with the main stakeholder, the public sector institutions and state-owned enterprises, along with a good team of people who have walked the talk there, private sector operators, civil society, and international organizations, we can harness diverse perspectives and resources to amplify the impact the public sector makes. And together, we can address this pressing concern. This center is not them who have come. It is your center from today. We will be taking in people participating. It will be collaborative, it could be inclusive, and we will be getting direction from all corners. There is no monopoly of wisdom, and that is the thrust of the center. In closing, 2 words I know people like in the morning. The center is more than just an organization. It is a movement. It's a commitment. It's a call to action. It's an invitation for you to step out of the usual, to introspect and ask, could I have done more? Can I do more? Can I define the legacy that I will say during my time? And it doesn't have to be the head. This is what we instituted. These are the changes we made. These are the reforms we made. I'd like to give an illustration on why this essence, the essence for this. One African leader, not too far away, Paul Kagame of Rwanda, would typically make an appointment, a minister or regulator, and he gives him his statistics for his industry, saying, Mr. Minister or Regulator, you have 4,600 jobs in your industry, 300 companies, your contribution to GDP is 2%, and if your contribution to tax revenue is $1 billion, good luck in your assignment. I'll be back in a year or two. In a year or two, he wants to see that the jobs are now 5,000, not 2. He wants to see that your contribution to GDP has gone up or at the minimum remained the same but not less. And your contribution to taxes, this is what you call proper governance with results and accountability. And if he has gone down, you know what was said of the unprofitable servant in my own book of faith, the Bible. So your center represents a call for actions to leaders, institutions, and citizens to be more transparent, accountable, and effective in the public sector that truly serves the people. I would like to end with a definition I've given so many times. It's a definition of ownership. I choose to define ownership negatively. That which you can destroy lawfully belongs to you. And you can test it. You can smash your phones. And nobody can do anything about it. But the minute you invite other people to participate in it, to improve the value of the phone or contribute to upgrading it, the one thing you clearly cannot do is destroy the phone, at least without consulting them to explain why it has become necessary. So the public sector is our collective commonwealth. State-owned enterprises are entities we're all shareholders and stakeholders of. We collectively own it, and those who run it must remain accountable in the way that is done. I'd like to thank you all for being here today and for your commitment to advancing public sector governance. I invite you to work together with us with purpose, conviction, and a shared vision of a transparent, accountable, and resilient public sector. Thank you very much for listening.